All right, and welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we're looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly from the Commanders season thus far. And so we're just looking at the key takeaways of the season for the Commanders as they get ready to go into this bye week. And so, I wanted to start off with the good part here. And so, obviously, we know that the Washington Commanders have a winning record at 8-5 right now. We have 4 games remaining. We're going into this bye week, and then we're going to come out of this and we play the Saints. This is pretty much going to be the really the playoff stretch for the Commanders going into this one. So, starting with the good, they say that Jaden Daniels, he's the number one takeaway from the 2024 season. Just talking about just how well he has done, probably going to be in the running for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He is getting the job done, obviously, with the 70% of his passes completed, has 21 combined touchdowns. And so, just starting with that point, I think that absolutely that this is just not good. This is not great. This is excellent for the Washington Commanders. And just being a fan here and looking at this team and just thinking about all the quarterbacks that I have watched this team have. In fact, I remember watching Mark Rippon when he was last playing for us, and that was our Super Bowl winning quarterback. But since then, man, it has been just a revolving door for the Washington Commanders. I mean, we've had Heath Schuler, Gus Farad, we've had Jeff Hostetler out there, Brad Johnson, Jeff George, Tony Banks, Shane Matthews, Patrick Ramsey, Mark Brunell was out there at the time. I remember we had Jason Campbell. We obviously had Kirk Cousins. We've had RG3, Rex Grossman, Donovan McNabb. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on with the quarterbacks that the Washington Commanders have had. And so I will say that just as a fan, it has just been remarkable to have a franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels. And I think that he is going to be a franchise quarterback. And so, yes, that is great. Next, they talk about just the offense as a whole, that has been a good, really a good spot for the Washington Commanders. And I think it has. I think thus far, when you look at Cliff Kingsbury, look at what he's been able to do. I think that this team has an identity, and that's something that this team just really hasn't had too much in the past. It's just an identity, and I love the fact that it's running the football, which when you look back at the teams in the 90s, the one things that Joe Gibbs and Joe Jacoby and those guys did was they ran the football well. And so this is good that they're running the football. And so I'm glad that we found that. And also, too, just having the ability to get Terry McLaurin going with a rookie quarterback. And it also shows you just how good Terry McLaurin has really done with the revolving quarterback situation that we've had. He's had good years, and he's having another great year this year. And so that's been a plus. Then they talk about Brian Robinson Jr., Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Austin Eckler. That really goes into what I'm talking about in the run game and having that identity. I think that each running back has played well. Austin Eckler obviously is out due to injuries, but he has been a huge impact for this team and coming up with big splash plays. Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Brian Robinson Jr., they've all been running with a level of physicality that we absolutely love. And then also, too, another good spot is just been the defense. And so, look, some of the bright spots from the defense, Bobby Wagner, who I've talked about this on the last episode, I think that he should be signed for another couple years. Frankie Louvu has been terrific for us. Dante Fowler Jr. has been great. Jeremy Chin has come up and been spectacular for us as well. But Mikey Sandra still, that is another player that I'm extremely high on, and I'm glad that we got him, because with Emmanuel Forbes Jr. and then that not working out, I'm glad to see that Mike Sandra still has worked out for us. He's looking like a player that is going to be excellent as he continues to play. I think he's a player that fits right alongside of Marshawn Lattimore. I love his physicality. I think he's getting better each day out there, or each game, I should say, covering as well. And so he's a player that I love. And considering that, the last cornerbacks that we've had that have been pretty good that I remember that we drafted that turned out pretty good, obviously Darrell Green, Champ Bailey are a couple players that come to mind. And so just to have a corner be drafted by the Washington Commanders and be solid is great. And so next up, we talk about the bad. And so I agree with this straight on. They're talking about the run defense, and they're talking about the Washington Commanders giving up 137 yards per game. And so, look, this is huge for the Washington Commanders, and this is really bad because as this team does trend to the playoffs, the inability to stop the run is something that the Washington Commanders are going to have to do. In fact, when I remember back to when RG3 was out there his rookie season, I believe we played the Seahawks, and then they had Marshawn Lynch. And so you have to be able to stop running backs because the weather is going to probably be not good, and you're not going to be out there just throwing the ball all over the yard. You're going to have to run the football, and then running the football establishes a level of physicality. And so this team up front, it hasn't been physical enough up front to really set the line to scrimmage, which is something to worry about as we move closer to the postseason. Hopefully they can get that edge moving forward. Hopefully, we're able to really take care of what is going on up front, because I think defensively on the back half, we're going to get better with Marshawn Lattimore coming back. But it is going to be a matter of really stopping the run and just slowing it down at least. So I think that is going to be key for the Commanders, and it has been a bad point for us. Next up, they talk about the Austin Ekeler injury. I do agree that is a bad thing for the Washington Commanders, although I think that they can overcome this with Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez Jr. But make no mistake about it, Austin Ekeler has been really spectacular for this team. I think he's made some great plays in the flats with catching the football. I thought that he was going to be an impact free agent for this team and really help Jaden Daniels, a rookie quarterback, and having that check down option. And I think Austin Ekeler has done that. And I think quiet as is kept, he might be trending towards a Pro Bowl year with some of the things that he's been doing. And so next up, the ugly, and that is talking about the loss to the Dallas Cowboys. And as a Commanders fan, you never want to lose to the Dallas Cowboys. Trust me, I've been in the stadium, and it's terrible. But you don't want to see that losing this game in a game in which we should have won, when we had a nice play, which really all we had to do was kick the field goal, tie it up. I think the Washington Commanders, as bad as they played that day, could have won this game. But this is a game that certainly it does sting a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't cost us as far as playoff seeds and things like that. But, I think another really ugly thing about this is that Austin Seibert, like, he's been injured. And so, we don't want to have a situation where, we're trying to figure it out from a kicking standpoint, because that has been a strong point for the Washington Commanders, being able to generate points. That was something that was a bit of an issue for us in this last game. And we're going to need some good kicking, because you may not be able to put up touchdowns like you want to, and you're going to need to secure some points. And so, hopefully we do get something back. Currently right now, Austin Seibert is on the IR. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about the good, the bad, and the ugly for the Washington Commanders. Do you agree with this article and what they're talking about with the good, the bad, and the ugly? Anyway, we'll be talking a little bit more about the Washington Commanders as they get ready to take on the New Orleans Saints. We do not have a game today, so we're off. It is a bye week. Hopefully the Washington Commanders can get healthy and get ready for this stretch run. But anyway, this is Rico, this Washington Commanders Insider, and I'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace. Go Commanders.